All right. So welcome everyone. We're gonna talk a little bit today about building rapport-based practice and what that actually is, and how to develop that within your own practice. Obviously, um, let's go over a few things so you can understand what this webinar is. As you can see at the bottom of the video, you will have a Q&A question and answer session. That's the way you communicate with me. So if you want to ask a question during the webinar, please feel free to just click Q&A, type in the question, it'll show up on my screen, and I'll answer that. First off, let me introduce myself. I'm Brian Rector. I'm a chiropractor. I've been a chiropractor for 24 years already. Gonna hit 25 this coming June 19. I've established one of the largest chiropractic offices on the Monterey Peninsula, and several years ago, a few friends of mine, they asked me to help them kind of consult and coach their offices, and I saw quickly that some of the concepts and procedures that I had in my office helped them develop a very profitable practice within themselves. In fact, few of the chiropractors that I work with, they saw 30% growth within the first 3 months and over the year, and they've continued to develop a practice that they wanted. So the approach I take with the innate coaching consulting is I want to help each doctor develop the practice that they want. So I help you develop your own scripts. I help you develop what's natural procedures to you. So you have a personality practice, which means it takes on your personality. And, I have two associates. Several of the doctors that I work with, they have several associates. So it's not necessarily personality driven, which means, you are the one that sits there all the time and works within the practice, but your practice has your personality within it. So it takes on your procedures, your personality, and that way it's always comfortable to you. What I don't do as a coach is teach you my procedures, teach you my specific things. I guide you, I mentor you, and that's what I've been taught. So I'm one of the few coaching consulting chiropractic management companies that actually have been taught and taken on special training to become a professional speaker and professional coach. I've done that through the John Maxwell team. And you can see all this on my website, www.innatecoach.com, and you can kind of read all about that if you're interested. I've been doing it for now over 12 years, and I've really decided this past year to kind of expand it. I've always had a limited number of people I've worked with, and now I'm looking to kind of expand that and open it up, just because of the demand is there, and I have so many doctors calling me, chiropractors calling me weekly, just asking for help. So I've decided to kind of open that up. And today what we're going to share is my philosophy behind the 7 concepts, the 7 values, if you will, developing a rapport-based practice. So because of time, we're going to start right off. The information I share with you is normally given in a 4-week to 7-week program, which you'll see on my website, to develop and get these procedures and practices into your office. But we'll go over the concepts with them, and we'll look at several different areas within the practice. We'll talk about what our patients really want when they come in our office. So let's start off. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to look at here. All right. So if we look at a rapport-based practice, we have to look at, okay, what is rapport? What actually is it? So if we look at what rapport is, if it'll work here, there we go, is the ability to build rapport is the foundation of a lifelong relationship. So many of our other management companies, right, they tell us not to get close to our patients, to not develop rapport. My procedure is a little bit different. So what I want to do is I want your patients to feel excited, to feel heard, to feel a relationship with you as the chiropractor. If you look at our founding fathers in chiropractic, remember, they used to march in front of jails, right, to free us from our sentences, if you call it that, right, to support the chiropractor. And if I just think about that, think about the rapport in strength of a relationship that doctor had with their patients. And just think about this. I mean, if you were caught in the same thing, God forbid that happens, but if you had the same thing happen, would your patients march in front of the jail for you? So the development of rapport within your practice is actually very important, because that develops the foundation of the relationship. And this is what gets your patients to feel comfortable referring to. This is what has your patients stay on path with their plan, with their treatment plan. So if we look at the definition, right, a friendly, harmonious relationship, especially a relationship characterized by agreement, mutual understanding, or empathy that makes communication possible or easy. You know, when doctors call me on a weekly basis, they're saying, you know, my patients don't follow my care program. I get them in, they stay for 2 or 3 visits, they leave. There's a communication breakdown there. And I call it the gap. So I say, what is the patient's gap between you and themselves? So where is the gap within that? And through rapport building practice, we look at what that gap is, and we develop concepts, procedures, scripts, if you want to call them that, to develop a relationship. We do a lot of personality assessment type of things with our patients. So we have a goal sheet that we have the patient fill out, and it kind of looks at what that patient's personality is, so we learn how to communicate with them. So if you look at the 7 aspects of rapport, right, it starts off with relationship. What is the patient's relationship that they want with you? Why did they come to see you? A lot of our patients come for referrals. In fact, 95% of my practice is based on referral based. I do get some social media new patients, but it's mainly based on referral based. And we average around, 40 to 50 new patients a month just on referrals. So when we develop that relationship, you have to understand, they don't come to us to be our friends, right? No one's going to pay you to be your friend. So you really have to develop that professional relationship as the doctor, but then have a bedside manner. So a lot of the doctors, right, we want to convince the patient that they need to come and see us. That's not the way to develop a relationship. You have to meet the patient where they are. You have to find out what their needs are. And by doing that, then you can guide them, coach them, and mentor them. That's really, as a doctor, what we are. We are a coach, mentor on their path towards health. In fact, what we have in our catalyzing statement in our office is health. We state that health is a challenging journey, and we want to coach and mentor you along that road. So you develop these strategies and procedures as a mentor coach to help your patient along the way, and you encourage them. And then we'll go over a few more things. I don't want to get too far ahead, but we encourage them and support them in many different ways, so they always come to us. I'll get emails weekly, patients asking me about a new product that has come out, a new nutrition, new supplement, exercises. In fact, some of my patients actually call me coach when they come in. So you have to think about, what is that relationship that they want? They don't want to be our friends. And if you remember, if you think about personality, our patients are very selfish when they come in. It's all about them. It's a narcissistic relationship in the beginning. So we have to understand that they want that, and we have to give them what they need in order for them to trust us. So if we move on, the second concept is developing awareness. So a lot of the procedures and scripts that we have in our office is based on developing awareness of who this patient is, what drives them. How can we establish a deeper understanding of them so we can guide them and support them better? And we look at what awareness is, and this goes into our patient management. This also goes to our staff procedures. It's in every little thing. So every little concept procedure that we do is based on developing awareness. Now, our intention is to support and help the patient. It's not to manipulate. A lot of times, doctors will learn these sales scripts, these sales procedures, and their intention is to make a sale. Let me tell you something. If I'm trying to sell something to you that's outside of you, you're less likely to buy. Most people make a purchase based on how they feel. And when you talk about themselves and stay with the intention that it's about them, they're more likely to purchase and follow your guide because it's about who they are. So for example, a lot of times we'll talk about things that they go on in their life. In fact, when we take chart notes, we're taking chart notes looking at who this patient is. And we'll make specific notes. Hey, they have 3 children. One of the children goes to this school. One of the children play softball. They're into yoga. And when we converse with them on a daily basis, we're talking about those things that are within their life. And we guide them. We have a phrase in our office: as soon as you walk in our door, you are healthier. And we believe that because every single time that patient comes in, we're giving them something to guide them more towards health. Remember, it is a challenging journey. Think about our patients bombarded with the information on a daily basis on what health is. Drink milk, don't drink milk, right? Eat wheat, gluten-free, all these certain concepts they're trying to decipher through, right? Trying to figure out, and they have no guide. You being the guide, you being the mentor, you being the leader will help them follow, and that's when they refer. So you have to continue to develop this awareness within that patient. So if we look at the third concept, which is purpose. So what is the doctor's purpose? What is your purpose? Now, a lot of doctors say, oh, my purpose is to have every patient sign a plan, right? To sign on for care. Boy, did that sound, if your patients heard you say that, what would they say? No, your purpose is helping this person in front of you, right? Developing a relationship with the person in front of you so you can guide them and mentor them in the direction they need to go to attain health. If that's your intention, if that's your purpose, then you're meeting the patient's needs. Because what are they looking for when they come in? They want help, right? They're in dire pain. They're in crisis mode. They need help. What you have to define is your purpose and how it fits their needs. And then you have to look at what the patient's purpose. So I said earlier, we have the patient fill out a goal sheet. And we look at this goal sheet to make sure my plan matches their plan. If say for example, a patient wants to start an exercise program, and they'll have, in fact, we're all going to see that this beginning of the year, right, January. And my goal for this 58-year-old woman who's overweight has to meet her goal. You don't want to set a plan that has her starting a marathon or going to finish a marathon when her plan is just to get to the gym. So we don't want to overload our patients with the plan, with our guide, because exactly what I just said, they're completely overloaded. The last thing you want to do is put a patient on a diet program, a chiropractic program, an exercise program when they barely made it in your door, and what a struggle it was to get in your door just to make it change, right? Especially when they tell you, oh, this pain's been with me for 4 years. It finally got to the point where I can't move, and now I'm here. If we push too much on them, they're going to push away. It's a natural occurrence between people, right? When you overload them, they're going to push away. So the fourth concept, perception. Now, we teach in our office tools to gain insight and perception on our patients. So if you look at the role of a coach is not to give advice, it's about how you influence someone, making them consciously aware of their own truth. This is our goal, right? We want to guide them and mentor them, like I said earlier. So our procedures, our scripts, our phone call that's done after their first visit, our greeting, our email greeting, everything is to gain more perception into who and what drives this patient. How do we help them get to that next step? And as you do that, and that's your intention, and that's really what you're trying to do, you're going to have the patients just fall over in front of you and just ask you to help them. You truly have to be there for them. If you go in with the idea that, hey, I have to pay my mortgage, I need this patient to sign a plan so I can get my new Mercedes or get my new car, whatever it is, even though you don't say that to the patient, they feel it, they know it. So you have to stay focused, and having procedures and scripts that help you develop the perception, it helps the doctor stay focused on the patient. So, fifth one, opportunity. Now this is huge for me, right? You have a patient in front of you. You have the opportunity to help someone in their life. You have the opportunity to help someone get healthier. As a doctor, you truly have to take that on with pride. You can't put it, fluff it off. You can't, put it by the wayside. You really have to focus on this. This is your opportunity to make a difference in someone's life. And if you think about this is the patient's opportunity to make a change in their life. A lot of times I have patients come into my office, they've tried several different things. And I know you guys have too, right? A ton of patients come to us looking for the last hope. I know, right? They should be coming to us first, but they don't. They come to us, this is the last hope. So we have to take that seriously. This is the opportunity that we've gone to school for. We've taken out all these student loans. This is what you've done. This is what you put all those hours in to make a difference in someone's life. So you have to take it seriously. Respect. Here's a big one. Patients, when they come in to our office, right? I just said that. This is their opportunity to make a change. I hear so many doctors being strict with their patient. For example, when they're supposed to come in 3 times a week and they've only made it in once, the patient begins to the doctor begins to let them know, hey, geez, you've missed 2 appointments this week. You're not going to get better if you don't show up. I have to, I'm going to have to have you make up those 2 appointments. It's much different for you to say, hey, there's a struggle I see that's going on, and I want to be able to support you. I want to make sure your goals of attaining health and what you set out went and set in front of you are attained. So listen, you've only made it in this week. How can we, is it the hours? You want to confront the patient, but you want to respect them. They're not your child. You can't send them to their room, right? Go stand in a corner with your dunce cap on. You have to respect them. And secondly, you have to acknowledge what is their struggle. If I tell you that I'm having a struggle because I'm going through divorce and I can't make my appointments as much because I got to take my children to school. If I blow that off and I say to you, well, come on, everyone has excuses and reasons why they can't come. You got to be able to make it work. If you want to get better, that's what you got to do. If I blow that off, one, patient doesn't feel heard. Two, you've just made their excuse irrelevant. Now, if you think about supporting someone, you have to acknowledge where they are and then bring them up the ladder. If I was going to coach you to climb a ladder, I can't stand at the top of the roof in case they say, come on, climb, you can do it. Just put your foot on there. No, you have to go down to where they are, be at their level, teach them how to get there, show them how to get there step by step, in respecting them along the way. That's what they're going to follow. They're not going to follow if you if you criticize them. No matter how ridiculous it is, you can't make that patient wrong. All right. Let me get a little sip here. Talking too fast. We're perfectly on schedule. I don't see, does anyone have any questions? I don't see any questions yet. All right, so if we look at the next concept, the last one, actually, trust. This is the biggest, right? If you don't establish the pillars of trust for your patient, they will leave your office and you will always wonder why. When I work with doctors, typically one of these three trust factors is left out or passed over. What I mean by passed over is the doctor felt something, knew something, or the patient tells them on a later date, I didn't trust the treatment that you were doing. I don't believe I can heal. Especially, right, when you look at number 3, the body's innate ability to heal. If the patient doesn't believe they can heal, I know you know this, right? Some of our patients come in and they're so caught up in our genetic factor, right? My mother died of cancer. My aunt died of cancer. They all had breast cancer, so I'm going to get it. They truly believe that in the back of their mind, right? So they lack the understanding, the ability that their body's different, that they can make a difference. They take on this concept that they cannot heal. If we don't address that issue from the beginning, and sooner or later they're going to leave our practice and we're going to wonder why. Well, it's because we never addressed this factor. So in our goal sheet that we have, we look for these three factors. So we're asking them, do you trust chiropractic? Do you trust the treatment? And we don't say it in those exact words. I'm just stating it for this webinar. And do you trust your body to heal? So we're looking at all this stuff. So many doctors, in the chiropractic profession, right? There's so many different types of treatments. What happens, right, is no one explains their treatment. No one explains. They could have gone to a doctor down the street and had adjusted, diversified technique. Then they come into your office and you're using activator. You just tell them, oh, because I found it to work better, or this is because I like this type of technique in my office. If they don't believe that technique is what they need, again, they're going to leave and you're going to wonder why. The first one, the doctor. Judge a book by its cover. This has many depths to it. So one, it starts with your intention. If your intention isn't with the patient, they will feel it. Let me ask you a question. How many car salesmen do you trust? How many car salesmen have you, how many car salesmen have you gone to and you actually trusted them? You know their intention. Their intention is to make a sale. We don't trust them. We might buy from them, but we don't trust them. It's different when you're dealing with someone on a personal level, dealing with their bodies. They have to trust you in order to follow you. There's no way they're going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning because you recommended an exercise program for them if they don't trust you. Secondly, they judge a book by its cover. If you don't look healthy, if you don't live health, if you don't do all you can to attain health, let's put it this way. If you're not getting adjusted weekly, bi-weekly, I'll let you get away with that. If you're not getting checked, how can they follow your guidelines? If you're treating a subluxation-based profession, a practice, if you're treating that way, you better follow it. If you're a pain management chiropractor, if you just treat pain, again, you still better understand the concepts of wellness care and get adjusted by yourself, yourself. These three factors I find are the largest parts of a rapport-based practice. You have to hit the trust factor. If you don't, they will leave. Just to try to stay on target here, it is 6:27. What I'm going to do is kind of finish up here, just so we can get out of here. Let's talk a little bit about before we go into questions and answer. Everyone who's on the call, if you go to my email address, drbrian@innatecoach.com, I'm giving you a free half-hour consulting session over the phone. It's actually half hour for free. You get to kind of share with me some of your struggles that you're having, some of the barriers that you're having in your office. And I'm going to work with you for the half hour. I'm going to give you procedures and things that I think that might help. Obviously, focusing on the concepts of rapport-based practice. I've had doctors take me up on a free half-hour call, and they share with me that just the things they've learned within that half hour have helped them along the way. So also I ask you to follow us on Facebook. I give a lot of the updates on my Facebook page. Obviously Facebook//innate-coach/ is the link. And you can also communicate with me through there if you want. And a lot of times I'll share a procedure, a script, or something like that to develop and put into your practice, and doctors will share their how it worked for them in practice. So let's open up the queue here. All right, let's see. All right, we have a couple questions here. All right. Got to figure out this Zoom. I hope everyone can see me well here. So one of the questions that is here, it states, what are some of the procedures that you do within your practice to develop a rapport? So without getting too much detail, so we for time's sake, some of the things we look at, right, when our patients come in our office, they are insecure. They want to feel secure that they're in the right place. So when they first come in, a lot of our procedures, a lot of our scripts are based on helping them feel secure, helping them understanding that they're in the right place. I want my patients, when they leave after the first visit, to say, wow, that was the best visit I've ever had. That is the right doctor. That is the right place. He's using the right technique. All those, right? We want to help them feel secure. There's about 6 or 7 different things that patients want when you first come in, right? So they're insecure, so they want to feel secure. People want to feel special. That's obvious, right? So we want them to feel special. That comes from a greeting when they walk in the office, right? They're just just excited to be here because of the greeting. You know, our staff gets excited, says welcome, introduces themselves, kind of like you're entering, you know, a 5-star hotel. Again, they want to know that there's a possibility to feel tomorrow, right? They have a desire to feel better. So on that, even on that first visit, you have to encourage them and guide them. So a lot of doctors will say the negative aspects of tomorrow. You know, after your adjustment, you might feel sore, you might feel stiff, you might feel worse. If you think about that, even though you think you're guiding the patient and letting them know that, hey, this is a possibility, you're putting that concept in their head, right? You're giving that idea. So although I might feel with a patient that is happening, I'm going to tell them, you know, but I trust what your body's doing. I don't think you're going to have that. I think you're going to feel comfortable. I think you're going to feel better. You want to give them more positive things to say, things to encourage them for, right? More positive approach versus telling them the negative. You can say that it might, in some occurrences, only 5% of the patients experience this, but you shouldn't. So you want them to expect to feel better. You don't want them to feel sore. Expect to feel sore, excuse me. Another thing, right? People need to feel understood. So the concept of understanding them and letting them know. So one of the things that we do in practice is, by me repeating exactly what you said, helps you think, or helps me portray that I understand you. For example, I have pain going down the left arm. It goes down to my pinky, and it's numb. And when I grab a cup of coffee, my hand, I can't feel like I can't hold a cup of coffee. If you tell me that, if I use words like, oh, so you have a pain in the neck, it radiates down the backside of your arm, the posterior aspect of the arm to the 5th digit, and when you hold things, you can't hold it. I use nothing that, you know, none of the words that you just said. I have to repeat back exactly what you said. I have to repeat exactly the same words. When you have pain going down the arm, it makes your pinky numb. You can't hold a cup of coffee in the morning. I have to use those same words. If I use my own interpretation, my own words, they don't think you heard them. So you have to make them feel understood. People are selfish, right? They're there for themselves. They're not there for you. You have to make it about them. You know, if you've ever been on the dating scene, I've been married for a long time, so it's been a long time I've been on the dating scene, right? But when you first go on a date, the dates that you feel are the best are the dates that the person's always asking about you, right? They're asking more about you. They want to learn about you because it's selfish. It's a narcissistic approach, right? I want to feel special. I want to feel better. It's a narcissistic approach. You have to keep those concepts. They don't really care your background and how long you've been in practice. They don't really care about, you know, your awards that you've had. You know, in fact, if they do are curious about, they'll ask you. The patient's not going to care about how long you've been in practice if they don't ask. If they ask, hey, then they care. Then you share with them, keeping it about them. So here's an example. You know, how long you been in practice? I've been in practice 24 years. That's why my care is specific and special to you. That's why I can focus on you. My experience allows me to give you the best care. Pushing it back on them, right? It's not about, yeah, I'm awarding awards. I've done this, I've done that. I'm a coach within the profession. No, it's my experience, my my profession, my training is going to help me understand you better. It's going to help me give you the best care. Patients get emotionally low in periods of care, right? The patient's going to drift off and get discouraged with care, get discouraged with their home exercise programs. You want to encourage them, not reprimand them. Kind of what we talked about earlier with the respect thing. I think I answered that question. Let's look at the other question here. All right, here we got another question is this. How do you, what types of training do you do for your staff? What types of, looks like it says, what types of procedures does the staff do? Kind of procedures that our staff does is similar. It's taking on the whole personality type. So when I come into your practice, when I work with you, I'm looking at what type of personality you have as the doctor. What is your belief systems? And I want that to be portrayed within your office. So I want the front desk to say scripts that you're comfortable with. If I was to give you the scripts of my personal office and you took them on, it doesn't feel real, right? It doesn't. If you have a patient at your, if you have one of your CAs at the front desk, she wants to say, she's grew up in Texas, isn't, hi y'all, welcome to our practice. And you want her to say, no, you don't want to say y'all. You want to say, hello, welcome to, so what that does, it pushes that person's personality back, doesn't make them natural. And when the patient comes in your office, if you change your CA's script to get rid of that, hi y'all, then you're going to lose the personality of that person with your say. And we're strongest when we're using our own personality. We're not strongest when we're trying to be something we're not. So what I do to come around in a circle here, making a short answer long here, I do that with a doctor. I look at what your personality is. We actually do a personality assessment on each doctor, and sometimes we go in the office and we look at what the personality of the whole staff is, and we try to bring out the natural abilities of each doctor. And then we use the same language so you feel natural. So when the patient, when you're dealing with a patient, you're natural. They can feel your comfort level. If you're saying something you don't believe in, if you're saying words you don't normally use, that comes off as more salesy, more scripted, and that's not what we want. We want our patients to know that you're yourself within your office. Right? Let's see what else. Last question. Oh, I see. I didn't answer the training. So with training in the office, we train our staff. We give them an idea. So here's what the concept is. Let's just go over a wow greeting, or a greeting when the patient comes in. Here's what we want the patient to experience, and we have them develop their own lingo, their own language, to create that wow greeting. Then, of course, we test them. We have them talk back to them, and we have them practice on the other CAs. And of course, me being the lead doctor, I test them, if you want to call it that, before they're ready to do that. And again, I want them to be natural, like we said earlier, but that's the type of training we do. So we help them develop their own, even with recalls, for example, right? When they do recalls on the phone, I want them to be natural on the phone, so we get the patient back in the office. I don't want them following a certain script like they read. I think we've all been scripted, let's call it that way. We've all been scripted in some way, shape, or form, and it's normally in a sales call, right? And again, we push away. So I hope I answered that. If I didn't answer that for you, just ask another question here. All right. All right, so we have gone a little bit over time, which is okay. So I'm going to end it with this. Doctors on the webinar, please feel free to email me to set up a half-hour session for consulting. We'll go in a lot of in-depth things on the phone. So take advantage of it. If we don't work out, if I'm not the right personality for you, no biggie. There's plenty of other places you can go to find what you need if I'm not the right person. But give me a call, give me an email. We'll talk on the phone. You'll get that free half-hour consulting, and I think you'll enjoy what you learn. Any other questions? Before we end, please feel free to email anytime. My purpose for starting consulting and coaching was really to help doctors. I was frustrated, and I was sick of having friends from other parts of the country struggling. And I felt, the things I did in practice were unique. I've won several awards as far as voted best chiropractor in the Monterey County for several years. And I just decided one day I'm going to share that. And throughout the past 10 to 12 years, I've helped several chiropractors, and I am, excuse my sinuses here, I am more than willing and able to help you out in any way, shape, or form. So, pleasure talking to you guys. I hope you all got a lot out of today. And feel free to email me, Dr. Brian at innatecoach.com. And have a fantastic day. Talk to you soon.